We're live. All right, Kenny, bring us in.
Hey, welcome back to the Line Pull Podcast, episode 2 here. We got 2 new hosts with us today. Y'all remember me from the last one. We've got Robert and Justin. Robert, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are, what you did, and where you been.
Well, I'm Robbie. I got into operating equipment as a general aspect of it back when I was in the Marine Corps, 2009, 2013. After that, I decided to get some proper education, went to a school, held on to my crane license, played around the dirt, played around with trucking for a little while. Finally decided to get my ass in a seat, and been doing that since about 2016. And currently, I'm with a precast company, and that's what I do. That's why I'm here for this episode about precast. Go ahead, Justin.
Wait, Justin, how about you?
No, what's up, guys? Justin got into this line of work when I was about 18, 19 years old. Started at the very bottom as a pilot car loader operator and got fixed on cranes and started as a rigger and moved my way up. Went and got my license at 22 years old. Couldn't find a seat in my home state of Pennsylvania. Had to move to North Carolina and run taxi cranes down here in the Carolinas for the last 3 years, based out of central North Carolina. And I'm the young guy that's
real quick though,
looking up to all these
Robbie,
guys
first, I want
around.
to thank you for your service with the Marine Corps. And
it was my pleasure.
Justin, I want to thank you for your volunteer service in the EMS and fire. So
Thank you,
put
sir.
that out there. So yeah, we move on into this news topics here. What do you got? Who's got some news topics for us? Robbie, do you have something?
Yeah, I got something a little curious. You know,
Okay.
we figure that, you know, the more money that a industry puts out there, the more employees they're going to get. But high pay attracts workers, but construction's employment, the gap is still obnoxious. There's still not enough people. There's still not enough bodies in the construction industry as a whole. Despite the pay increase, despite it all. I mean, what do you guys think about it? Why are the numbers still lacking?
It's really hard. You know, I don't know. It's there's plenty of able-bodied people out there. I don't know if it's more of today's mentality of, you know, wanting an immediate what am I trying to say here? Wanting an immediate answer now. Like the people want something immediately now, and then they realize it's too hard to get it right now. They have to work and earn it, so they find something else that's easier to achieve. Immediate gratification.
Instant gratification
is kind of my opinion on it. Yeah, that's it. Instant gratification, exactly.
I mean, even still with the instant gratification, a recent survey shows that about 36,000 new employees put on hard hats just by May this year. But the gap increased another 40%. The gap of empty spots increased by another 40%.
Yeah, I'll say
is the work picking up too fast for the bodies to keep up, or, you know?
Well, I'll say as the young guy at 26, kind of as a generational thing, it doesn't really seem like there's this big push to be in the trades. I can remember going through high school and graduated in 2014, and everyone was saying, if you don't go to college, you're not going to be successful. Oh, don't look at the trades, you know, pushing that. You got to get that 4-year degree. And kind of getting away from that and getting into the trades and working, I think a lot of guys that look at it, they don't want to do the hard work, and they don't see it as, well, my parents told me to go to college to be successful. That's not really where I was pushed to, is a big thing that I've seen with guys that are my age. And then not understanding, well, how are you being successful as an individual at 26, 27, 28 years old when you didn't go to college, you know?
Right.
I had the same experience because I started out in this when I was 18 years old, and it was the same thing. You know, all the people I went to school with are still struggling to pay off their college degrees with, you know, $60,000-$70,000 a year job, and that's like they're proud of that. And I'm not knocking that at all by any means. Don't take that the wrong way, but you know, I stepped out right into the trades, and you know, have averaged, you know, 80,000 on a slow year ever since, and they just can't figure it out. A GED dropout makes way more money than them. It's like, well, it's not a bad thing. You just got to work a little harder, but you know, it's there.
It's not just the working harder. It's the hours, the sacrifice. It's everything nobody wants to make anymore. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm gonna
go
chime
ahead.
in because I definitely think that nowadays,
Oh, everybody,
especially for go
so
on.
everybody knows Connor's here too.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm gonna basically there seems to be more of an emphasis nowadays,
Oh, welcome,
especially our
Connor, from the
generation.
green room.
I had to chime in because this is a big thing. This is a big thing close to me. There's more of an emphasis on a university education, and especially our generation now wants that 9 to 5 job, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And this kind of industry, you all know, is not that. It's 18, 90 hours plus a week, working away from home. Well, me especially, working away from home a lot. And I just don't think the the generation now wants that. I think they'd rather sit in an office and
Mm-hmm.
have a job it's not as much hard graft. That's how I see it.
Well, they'd rather sit in an office to take the opportunity for the job to go remote. They
Yeah,
don't want everybody going to the office. So sit in your PJs, work at home.
yeah. Which I'm not saying is a bad thing. If that's your
Oh no,
if that's
no,
your thing, then that's your thing.
I got something to say.
to be completely honest, I'm jealous of my wife. If she wants to stay home and work in her PJs, she can.
Yeah.
I got something to say on this subject.
Oh, by the way, Dave's here too.
Hello, I'm Dave. But as the old guy in the group, I'll be 49 this year in October. And
Hi, Dave.
when I was
Kid.
going through middle school and high school, the trades were pushed.
Yeah.
You know, carpentry class and mechanics class and all those trades were pushed in high school and middle school. And nowadays, when my kids went through the same high school and middle school, there were no trades pushed. It was just focus on state-based testing is what they teach off of, and the trades kind of push themselves to the side.
Yeah.
And you actually don't get into trade school until you graduate high school or whatever, and you want to go to a trade school. But like Connor said, the university system is emphasized push, and I make more than some college graduate. I have a bachelor's in computer science, and I make more doing this than that. So
Yeah.
Right.
it's basically, and from my point of view, it's like y'all say, it's nothing bad on your generation, but it's a generational thing, and everybody wants to stay home and make the amount of money that someone else makes out busting their butt, but they want to stay home and get the same thing, and it's just not possible.
Yeah. I don't think, especially in the UK, I don't know what it's like over there, but I don't think there's nothing implemented or pushing out for, especially in the crane industry. There's nothing implemented to get young people involved, and like we don't tend to have like an apprenticeship scheme for crane operators, which I think should be a thing. They're trying to bring it in, but it's just they need to get the younger generation interested in it, which is kind of why I started the TikTok, basically to try and get people interested in it. I just don't think there's enough at the moment to get the younger generation interested.
Oh, definitely.
Which is a real shame. It is a shame because you're gonna have. Go on, Robbie. Go
Go.
on. Go on.
No, you're good. You go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just
You're in
think
the middle of the story.
I'm going on a tangent. I just think there's going to be a time when all the experienced older operators are going to come up for retirement, and there's no young people coming through to replace them, and they're going to be absolutely screwed. Well, we are now. To be fair, there's definitely a shortage here in the UK of operators, 100%.
Well, that brings
Oh yeah,
up a
we're
whole
we're
nother
shorthanded too.
that brings up a whole other topic of the older generation, the generation that's currently holding down the seats that are job scared, that don't want to
Yep.
teach the younger generation.
Yeah, I've had a lot of
They
that.
don't want to teach the younger generation. They're job scared, and that's only hurting the industry in the long run.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely, 100%.
If you got somebody willing to learn,
And
let
this
them learn.
100%.
and this could segue
And
us
it's
into
just
our
like
main topic here, precast, because that is an art in the industry itself. And if the older folks don't want to teach you how to do the tilt ups or how to properly pick one off a trailer and flip it up and stand it or anything of that nature, you know, what are we left with? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually, you ain't gonna have no new Amazon warehouse to ship your shit out of.
yeah.
They'll have
We'll
to
just
continue
go to
use the old
transporters.
one.
We'll just have to go to Star Trek transporters and transport everything.
Oh Lord.
We have the technology.
But no, that's our main topic here tonight. Will be precast, and you know, that's a great way to segue into it. Because the older generation, like the especially the tilt ups, is at once was a dying art, but it's coming back. And I've set a lot of tilt ups, and there's quite a few guys that are timid of them because it is a different art. You do things a little different than you would normally do with a crane, pulling them and plumbing them up into place. So, I mean, I don't want to say you have to overload the crane, but you have to reach capacity to get these panels up. And you know, a lot of the older guys don't want to share the little tricks and tips that it takes for the
Yeah,
newer generation to continue this art and to continue the form.
Absolutely. When it comes to precast and tilt ups and things of the sort, you're doing things with cranes that the book says you probably shouldn't.
yeah.
You know, I mean that's just the nature of the beast. But you got to get it done.
Can we just get a brief description, Robbie, for like maybe the UK audience, because like the precast that you do, you tend not to get it over here. It's not as common. So just give us a brief description of what tilt walls, suicide walls actually are.
Kenny's going to have more experience on the tilt up and suicide walls.
Kenny, shoot from the hip.
Yeah, well, he's going to have more experience breaking them loose. You know, the walls that are poured on site. I get
That's exactly what they are.
I get my
Robbie,
wall panels. I get my wall panels trucked in. They're 12 feet at a time.
Yep.
As far as the wall length goes, I mean, they could weigh up to 60, 70,000 pounds.
What's that in tons?
seven or
Travis
8, I don't know.
You're not going to irritate us. That's about 30 tons. So probably about 34 metric tons.
So,
the
but
tilt walls, the suicide walls as they're dubbed. Sorry, go ahead. My Wi-Fi is bouncing around, Robbie, so go ahead, man.
You're good. You're good. No, I picked mine straight off a truck, but the thing is, I'm using 2 lines, and I'm bringing my auxiliary winch up first while I lower my main, and then once I'll stand it up that way. And I'll actually put it on the ground. I'll put some weight on the ground, and then I'll have my riggers unhook my main line, and then they'll rehook it to the top. I'll transfer the weight to the main line, and then they'll unhook my auxiliary winch. I'll take that away, and then I'll go set the panel. I mean, the first time I saw it, the first time I did it, I was timid as hell. I was like, "What are you doing, unhooking it while it's loaded?" No, you don't do that.
Yeah, it sounds pretty daunting, to be fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when they're doing it, you know, and the panel kind of twists towards you, and you know they're unhooking it, and the only way it could fall is onto the crane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
just
what
just
they
you
call
explaining
suicide
that
wells.
there. Yeah, just you explaining that there using the two hook blocks of the same crane. Like over here, we would have. That's very unheard of. It's not. It has been done, I think, but you would never see that over here. You'd normally just use two cranes and tandem lift it, top and tail it.
Well, I mean,
100%.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that if you were doing one big pick. But I'm setting hundreds of these panels,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's just me. It's not even close to practical to run in two cranes to rotate every one of them.
yeah.
So
See, we
And it's
normally.
like over here in America, Connor, it's all about money. So
Yeah,
oh yeah,
if you just have one crane there that can do all the work, that will save the company that's set into building money, that's what they're going to do.
yeah. But Dave, it's like what we say over here in the UK. You can't put a price on safety. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Oh, I know.
They
They do
say
here.
oh no,
they say
oh no,
that
no,
too
no, no.
here.
Safety's
No,
convenient over here.
they say that here. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They say that here until the job starts falling behind.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you get that
And
over
money
here
starts getting in line.
too. Yeah, you get that over here too.
Yeah.
100%.
Now,
So
y'all
with
are
the
using snatch blocks, Robbie,
Yeah,
on those tilt ups
normally I have two
or on your
straight
precast.
chokers. Yeah, right. Normally I have two straight chokers down to two roll blocks, which will be two longer chokers, to make it a 4-point pick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
see,
You
in
know
the
what a
UK,
snatch block
we
is,
wouldn't.
Connor, right?
No, enlighten me. I
A
might
roll
do.
block. A roll block.
What's
Maybe
A tiny
what's
maybe
pulley.
that term. A
isn't
tiny
a
pulley. Yeah.
A rolling
Roblox
block.
that game on the Xbox, the PC Roblox?
Just without the X at the end of the name.
It's basically just like a one shiv block. That's all it is.
Ah, right.
Sometimes they come in two
Yeah.
shivs.
Yeah.
Little bitty
one
thing,
2
little
shiv
bitty
block
diameter.
with a little hook.
Yeah, I've got you.
Do your own
I know.
conversion, but they're probably 6 inches in diameter, so the palm of your hand
What's
in
that?
diameter. I said do
What's
your
that
own
in
conversion.
meters?
I already put that out there. I put that out there. Do your own conversion. Anyway.
I haven't. I thought you said you weren't going to get annoyed.
Oh, I'm not annoyed. I put the disclaimer out there. Do your own conversion. So
All right, fair play.
no.
I thought you just shut me down completely.
General.
And what is a suicide wall, Kenny?
Formed and poured in place. Oh, is my Wi-Fi working? Can you guys hear me?
We got you.
I got you.
Okay. I'm sorry. They're actually formed and poured in place like a concrete slab. There's a slab that's poured, the pour bed, and then the rebar is put in. The picking eyes are wired to the rebar, and they're actually poured in place and given time to cure. Those are larger walls. Generally, I've set smaller ones, 30,000 pounds. But the average wall is about 100,000 pounds. Do your own conversion. That's 50 ton or so.
Yeah.
So 100,000 pound, 50 ton wall, you pop it up and it doesn't hang perfectly plumb because there's no rigging on the very top.
Right.
And you have to touch it down and pull it up with the crane.
That's one of them weird side loading situations.
Yeah.
So they can anchor it and actually.
I was a rigger doing those, but never operated a crane doing them.
I've set many of them. I have set some monsters. I set some that were 78 feet tall. Do your own conversion. 180,000 pounds. Again, do your own conversion. 90 ton, almost 100 ton walls.
Connor, you just got Google
monsters.
pulled up. Connor's just over there.
I'm gonna have to.
There. He's got his conversion table up in front of him every time Kenny speaks.
I'm gonna have to print one out and keep it with me every time we do one now, just so I can reference it.
I think what I'm gonna do next time Travis is in next time Travis, in our next episode with Travis, I'm going to have my own conversion table printout, and I'm speaking nothing but metric the entire time. So let's just put it out there.
Oh man.
I'll do a clock
But
time
no,
the clock down on how long until he loses his mind.
I give it about 3 minutes.
probably the first syllable out of my mouth.
Hush.
You know.
I was gonna give him 30 seconds, man. You're giving him a heck of a time.
Oh God.
No, but the tilt walls have also been dubbed suicide walls because of the unfortunate nature of them. Sometimes where they pour them, the head of the wall is actually closest to the crane, and when it picks up, it's hovering kind of towards the direction of the crane. And if the picking eyes were not tie wired or wired and poured into the concrete correctly, they can come undone and pull out of the panel.
Yeah.
And game over, unfortunately. So that's why they've gotten the nickname of suicide wall.
Right.
That description of how they could be poured wrong or the lifting eyes tied in wrong are kind of the big reason I appreciate my loads coming in on the truck, because they've already been picked at their plant. They've already been tested.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. There's still the inherent danger of it. They could still fail, but they've already been tested. Versus the suicide walls, right there, poured on site. Nope. The first time you grab it, that's it being tested.
I was going to say, do they actually have any certification
Well,
testing lifting points, or is it just literally when they've been poured, you lift them straight away?
It's engineered, and they do slump testing, which is how they test the tensile strength of the concrete. But what kills me about that is they test it off-site after it's all cured. So, I mean, if the tests come back failed, you've got a whole big old wall that's not good. I mean, hopefully you haven't picked it yet before the break happened. But, I mean,
I've seen where they use the cam locks in those tilt walls, and the cam lock has come unlocked and off.
Yeah, there's. I
Now,
mean,
Kenny,
and this goes for the same kind of not Connor, but Robbie does too. The way that you put them locks in is a lot of it too. That way when you pick up on it, the flange or the lifting device itself actually pins the handle to the panel, so it can't come down and things of that nature. So.
Yeah.
Right. When I put the dog bone, when we put the Berks in, it actually locks it in. As soon as I start cabling up on it, it's tight. It pins it pins itself to the panel. Like it's not allowed to roll back out. There's no possible way for it. But
how many panels a day do you set?
With our truck den panels, with an AT, we're doing good to get 12 a day.
Pretty good going. How long is the time? What's the time frame from on the bed of the truck to up in the air, plant and set? Would you say?
It really depends on the crew I'm with. I've had some good crews where I'll pick 2-3 panels an hour and set them. But there's the other other crews that I've worked with. Yeah, there's other crews that there's other crews I've worked with that it takes them an hour and a half to re-rig and set the first panel.
What's that in meters?
Because it's always the first panel. Because if you fuck up setting that first panel, everything else is fucked.
Yeah, do your own conversion.
It takes an hour and a half. What's that in meters? I've set the same type of panels as Robbie, except I've never set anything with a hydro. All my panel setting has been with crawlers, whether it be the truck in or the tilt walls. I can on a typical warehouse panel that is the exact same panel the whole run. If we can generally, and this is hooking and booking, trucks are backed up, the crew is on point. We can typically get 4 panels an hour. I've gotten almost 30 panels in a day in an 8-hour day. But again, every time you set a panel, you track 10 feet. So there's no downtime. That's the difference in the equipment as well.
Yeah.
And it's not taken away from Robbie or his team or anything of that
Right.
nature. It's just the generalness of the crane. You know,
Well,
I've
no,
got a crawler. I've
that's
set a
actually the
panel. I've
reason.
tracked 10 feet. I set a panel, tracked 10 feet.
Well, that's actually the reason we're currently renting a telecrawler. We're currently renting one right now, and putting it through its paces to see if it's going to be that much of a difference. And so
Yeah.
far it is.
Ooh.
So
Oh,
far having a
100%.
I was going to say,
so
you
far
need to
having
give
a
me the specs
telecrawler on
on
the
that
job.
too, because
What is it, an
I think it's
LTR?
no, it's a link belt 140 ton telecrawler. But he's able to get right
TCT
up on the panels and
1400.
yeah, something like that. I haven't actually seen the crane, but I know they're doing work with it, and it's kicking ass. I mean, it's completely destroying the regular AT numbers
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
without having to
Oh, I imagine.
without having to break down and move. I mean, it's just kicking ass.
Yeah, I'd say it makes sense to have a telecrawler on a job like that.
I can
100%.
I can tell you right now, in the warehouse, I have set joists with a telecrawler, and it kicked the RT's ass 7 different ways from Sunday. You did not slow down at all for anything, and it just a way better chart, faster, moving, everything. You know, we didn't have to stage certain things. You could just track over, grab your bundle with all your sticks shot out, grind a bundle of decking, track it back to the other end. You know, it was just telecrawlers are a game changer for real, and that's kind of exciting to me to know that they're testing one on Precast. So
Oh yeah,
that would be a good machine
and
for
it's
Precast.
whooping it. I think if we ever got into the actual tilt up suicides, we'd be a little underpowered as far as the telecrawler's capacities go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But as far as the trucked in precast,
Now with
it's a whole new game.
Now, with that
You
being
were,
said, Robert, and actually Kenny also, them suicide walls, do you always have to do them with a crawler, or can you get away with it with a large caliber AT?
You can get away with it with large
I've
caliber
seen them.
AT. Uh, uh, Not long ago, only a few months ago, I was trying to tell Kenny about it. They had the site that we were doing it on. They wouldn't allow the fucking company to adjust the ground, and they weren't allowed to prep the ground outside the pad for a crawler. They weren't allowed to. The county put a stop to it. They were like, it's irrigation or some nonsense. So they had to actually put the crane up on the pad, and Guy and Turner brought their 300-ton Liebherr and walked it on the pad, and yeah, they walked it on the pad with the boom out and everything else. They would walk it on the pad. They'd set 2 panels, walk forward. Set 2 panels, walk forward. Even
Sweet.
with the big old tilt up suicide walls.
Mm-hmm.
find it
Shout out
interesting.
for the company, by the way.
I've seen our to do it.
Yeah, we did them with a
However,
Liebherr 265.
whoop,
Yeah, it was funny though, because it was the superintendents on that job were really young kids. They'd never. I stand by it. They had never set a building, but they had trucked in precast for walls, and then they had tilt ups for walls on 2 separate buildings, and they wanted to know which one was faster. I was like, we had a 2-week lead on them, and they finished in 3 days. What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Our old 300 was getting it then.
Well, yeah, they were picking up 5 of our wall lengths each pick, and it takes them 20 minutes to set. It takes them 20 minutes, 30 minutes to set that wall, and then they'd move on. I was like, I'm still in the second panel. What are you doing? You calm down. I don't know.
So
If you guys
once they set the panel, they have the metal clips that are in there on the concrete
braces.
floor and the panel, and then they just weld them in, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that once they have the in bed set and lined up, that's it. weld it and
Do you,
go.
do
But
you
most
guys
of the
do
time,
like? Go on, Robbie. Go on.
well, most of the time that I've seen, tilt ups, that they barely put a bead on it. They set it with the pole brace, and then they
Yeah.
move on. They've got another crew coming in behind them finishing up the welding.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
these
Finish up the
Little
welding
T
and
little
then
T
tilt up.
welds.
Mhm.
yeah, these dudes are moving with the tilt ups. The way we're supposed to do them with our trucked in ones, we're supposed to have like 40-something% welded with the pole brace before we cut it loose. So that is just killing our time.
Yeah.
So we don't even do that on the warehouses that I do at trucked in. At best, they weld the bottom. They got 2 plates on the bottom that they weld that are tied into the ground. They got the kick push pole that plumb it up, and then there's a guy up top with a hammer drill runs a dowel rod at like a 45-degree angle into the panel prior, and they're all linked together like that. And then while he's waiting on trucks, he'll go in and weld the vector plates in between the panels.
I'm gonna have to bring
Yeah,
that up
just as soon as
next
they
time
get
I'm
that
on one.
dowel rod done and it push pulls, so they cut me loose.
I'm gonna have to bring that up on the next job I'm on like that, because our feller up in the man basket that actually unhooks me from the panel, he's supposed to weld like 1 or 2 of the plates in
Really?
between the panels. He's supposed to weld those before we ever cut it loose.
Yeah, no, we do.
Which
So
which really doesn't make sense to me, because you don't weld those when you set the first panel on it. You let me cut that loose. The first panel's just standing there by itself like an idiot. He didn't have to weld nothing on that one.
Mm. Maybe we can get Travis in there with his spider crane to do all that.
Yeah, see that? I mean, that'd be a good time for him.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you guys
for any listeners that were listening to the last episode, boom trucks and boom truck operators are not real.
unicorns?
They're a figment of your
Unicorns.
imagination.
Yeah.
No,
They're
Connor's gonna
mystical
hear
unicorn.
the AC unit got up there by itself.
Do you guys
Connor is going to
do
hear him scream across the Pacific. Go ahead, Connor. I'm sorry.
do sorry. Do you guys you're talking about these precast walls? So over here, we tend not to do like that tall precast walls. They'll build the wall with rebar, and then you'll put shutters on either side, and then you'll have to skip the concrete, and then you'll have to hold the skip over, and then they'll have to pour the concrete with the skip. Do you guys do any of that, or is it you tend to do a lot more precast?
I do those.
No, it's
I've done those.
Good
Can
they
you
are
convert that
jammed.
to English?
that's actually a very common.
I've only
Swinging concrete,
Dave, what he said was elevator shafts.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Skipping concrete.
For those of us who
gang
don't
forms, we call them
speak
gang
Yorkshire,
forms.
Yeah, gang forms.
we speak
So
we speak Yorkshire here, not Yorkshire.
And
Yorkshire.
No,
Yeah, so
call them
that's
gang
what we
forms,
tend to do with
and,
concrete.
Yeah, I've actually slung a lot of concrete like that. But honestly, if those kind of walls are being built within a couple of stories of the ground, 5, 6 floors, generally speaking, there is what we call pump trucks. This is a whole other topic of debate, but just since we're on the topic, pump trucks that the concrete lorries or whatever the hell y'all call them when you convert them to metric, they pour into the pump trucks, and the pump trucks actually place. It's a long boom.
Yeah, we've got them.
That
We've got
actually
them.
place the concrete in the walls. So
Yeah,
you got
we have them, but
pump
there's
trucks
certain
there?
sites.
Or pump lorries. I'm sorry.
There's certain. It comes down to money as well, Kenny, because if they've got the crane there putting the shutters, it's cost effective for them to, instead of getting a concrete wagon in as well, use the crane that's already on the hire to skip the concrete over. It all comes down to money. They tend not to get the concrete pumps in. It's an absolute nightmare of a job, to be fair. Nightmare.
Well, I don't know if it's come to fruition, but I think we're into the banter segment anyway here. So
Yeah. We was working on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, Connor's got a hard on for
officially
fucking
here.
tilt
We're now
walls.
into the banter.
I mean,
I'm
I
just
know
intrigued.
we've been talking about concrete, and that's why Justin's been quiet because he's a steel guy. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
just
I
sit
love.
back and watch the precast boys work in behind us, and it is amazing to sit and watch the oversized loads come in and bring them panels in, and when you're waiting on steel to get shook out, and you're like, man, just these guys are just hanging and banging. And until I saw your page on TikTok, Robert, I just thought they were all done with crawlers. The first time I ever saw a precast was with Buckner up in Washington, D.C. They put 2 300-ton Lee bears on each side of the building with luffers, and they just kept trucking in and out all day, just keep it coming, and just stacked up
oh yeah,
right after another with luffer, and they were just bang, 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 and I'm like, wow. And I got to talk to the operator, and he said it's an art that takes a lot of finesse. I've never got to do it, but just sitting there watching them, just grabbing a hold of it and tilting it up and swinging around, it's like, man, that's pretty cool.
oh yeah.
Imagine setting 60,000-pound
That's
pieces of iron.
definitely something.
Justin,
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Send it.
So
Have you have you dried your eyes yet? And have you got tucked up with your comforter, ready to go to sleep? Or?
Here in a little bit, good sir, because you see, us Americans, unlike God Save the Queen individuals across the pond, don't have
Hey,
teeth.
Connor,
ready
he's
to go tuck. Yeah.
Connor, he has his plush fire truck and everything ready to go to
I
bed.
do.
That
I
is
listen to the
most
sweet, sweet
European,
sound of
the
a
most
fire
British
siren.
thing I've ever heard.
Oh, and real
That
quick,
is the most
speaking
British
of
thing
my,
I've ever heard. Are you ready to go tuck?
yeah. By the way, Connor,
That is
just a
perfect.
shot across the bow here.
Yeah,
Your
go
guys,
for it.
for all the firemen, and that will probably never hear this, but you know what? American fire helmets are way better than your European pieces of crap. Just like your little fire trucks with the gay siren. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
Wow.
Lay on
Oh man,
your
this is
places to be.
this is starting to get deep. Oh, this is getting out of hand.
Connor, you struck a nerve. You didn't just strike it. You throat punched
I
his
touched.
nerve,
We're
dude.
gonna
I've
get a
touched.
bunch of European firefighters throwing rocks at us and shit.
Oh man.
I've touched the nerve. I've
Oh,
touched
that's
the nerve.
cute. Plastic leather
No, you.
forever.
At least they're across the pond. They can't throw that far.
Yeah,
No. He said with your gay
leather
siren.
forever.
Oh,
Oh.
Leather
oh
forever.
my God, that was.
It's like, you know,
That was epic.
there's nothing wrong. There's
Well,
nothing wrong with the
Justin,
plastic fire helmet.
if you ain't so angry, why don't you hit us with the picking in the
I
blind?
will.
Since it,
So today's subject of picking in the blind, we talked about earlier with the news about the hours we work and everything along that lines. What is it for you guys when you get done with work or you get a stretch of days off? What is your go-to thing to unwind and relax and just hang the hard hat up for the day and just unwind for the day?
Mine is woodworking. So that's what I do.
Mine is I like to go down to my local fire department and polish the helmets. The plastic helmets.
Put a little armor all on it and give it a little buff job.
See, Justin, they don't actually fight fires in the UK because
I know.
if they went into the fire with a plastic hard hat, it would just melt on your head.
Yeah, it turns into a swimming cap. It's like a swimming cap when it melts onto the head.
It's
They're,
nice.
they're just like that old song, "Let It Burn."
Oh man.
Oh God. Kenny, what's your
No,
answer to that question?
mine is woodworking, using my scroll saw and all that stuff and making stuff. Man, I'm working on a kitchen table right now. So.
for a long time, it was working on my old trucks, my old vehicles, just tinkering in the garage. But here in recent months, probably a year or better, it's been bowling. I do a lot of bowling, and I'm learning the bowling community, or the bowling, procedure for drilling and laying out bowling balls and operating a pro shop. It's kind of been my hyper focus of recent to get away from work.
So you're a professional ball handler, huh?
Well,
He handles the balls.
Yeah, I missed out when I didn't get to see him in Atlanta. I was trying to hope. I was really hoping for the professional ball handling.
Well,
You should have went without me, Robert.
Well,
I should have went the weekend
we still
before.
got the half a point because we made a plan. So, contrary to what Travis
That's
says.
fair enough. That's
What
fair.
about you, Robert?
Well, I mean, I dabble in the arts and crafts. I engrave glass. I'll take the Dremel and the diamond bit, and I'll do pint glasses and things of the sort.
Really? That's pretty cool.
More recently, because it's the warmer months, I spend it out on the boat. But regardless, whether I'm engraving glass or I'm out on the boat, it's a kind of situation.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool, man.
What about you there, Connor?
Yeah, my actual serious answer is I like to just chill at home, play with my wiener.
See, Connor, you have a wiener, but Kenny has a wiener and balls. He's got the complete set.
Oh man!
My Wi-Fi glitched on me just now, and so I didn't hear Connor's answer. But when it came back, it was Dave describing how Connor has a wiener, but I have a wiener and balls. So,
Kenny, that's really all you need to know.
I should elaborate. I have got a miniature dash hand like a sausage dog, so I didn't mean anything derogatory. I meant play with the dog. Chill out with the dog.
No, you're all right. We call them wiener dogs over here.
Oscar Minor wieners.
I'm actually in a house with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dachshunds. 7 dachshunds.
It's a
My
sausage
mom's
party.
had 4 puppies, so yeah, it's a sausage fest over here for sure. Well, I'm
Straight
visiting
up
my
sausage
parents, and
fest.
she actually has 4 puppies that are 6
if you
weeks old,
convert
so.
if you convert it into Connor's language, it's a stag party.
And I think on that right there, it's about time to end.
Yeah.
What do you say, fellas?
Definitely.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
I agree. Hey,
All right, Dan, well.
appreciate everybody's made it this far in the podcast. So, y'all have made it this far.
Hell, if you made it 2 episodes of this nonsense, go ahead and hit the plus.
And remember that the United States is always better than the UK.
And the fire department sucks.
Oh god.
That's why we scream, "Jump down!"
Oh, that'll work.